Hello, I'm Rosemary and welcome back to our art pack that we've been delivering from the Towner Gallery. And this week you're going to get a box, which is quite different and quite exciting. So if you see what's inside, you've already got this equipment which came in the other packs. And there's 2 bits of art paper, 2 chopsticks, and then the instructions. And that explains quite clearly that in this one you're going to make a puppet show, puppet theatre. And also, I think with the painting we've added extra paper so that you can learn a bit about watercolours. So all the instructions are here, and the lovely starting one is talking about someone looking out the window and seeing the beautiful earth there is outside, which of course would encourage you to want to paint, and in this case make up a story as well. So that's quite interesting. Right, I'll start by making the puppet show, and obviously this is going to be it, and it needs a hole for you to see the back of the stage. And what I suggest you do, first of all, if you measure, use this ruler you were given, and I think about 1.5 centimetres, do it at the top and then a bit further down on each side to give you nice straight lines. So then you draw the line here. So this is going to be the frame that you'll look through to see the background. I'll give you both sides. And then do the same for top and bottom. So 1.5 centimetres both sides, top and this end. Now cutting out straight in would be difficult. So what you do is cut in through here, through there, and then cut out this shape, which gives you the piece of card that you can make the characters with for your puppet show. Right, so that's, if I put that aside and show you the finished one, we can then describe it more. So here's the one I did earlier, and you can see it's got the little edge, and on the edge I've cut out the bottom of one of the sheets of paper and used it to decorate it. And it tells you to write a story. Now, I'm not good at writing stories, but I thought of an exciting story that I would use, which is about Jonah, Miracle at Sea. And so that's what I've named it. And as a result, at the bottom it had some pictures I didn't want, just put sand. Decide then what you want at the back. They suggest you use crayons, which you can do. But as they've given you this wonderful set of paints, watercolour, proper, very good quality, that's what I should use. And inside it even gives you the proper names for the paints. So you've got yellow ochre, which is this funny looking colour, which is brilliant for making skin colour. And what I suggest you do is take a bit of your masking tape, cut a piece off, or you can tear it, and actually stick it onto the side of the tin, because then, perhaps that's too wide, isn't it? You will actually learn the names of the paints. Let's make sure it's right. White at the top and black at the bottom. But do it so that you can still put the lid on. So dangle it a little bit down there, and then you see you've got your paintbrush, paints all named. Look at that. And you can learn the names. Right, well, I'm going to show you a little bit about the painting. So here's the pack that I've already used, because it would take a while. So there we are, I've stuck it on. There's the paintbrush, and you obviously need a water jar. Make sure you ask before you fill a jar with water. Okay, don't use mugs and cups. Try and get an old one, it doesn't matter. And what else do we need? You need to put that out of the way. And obviously this one's already painted. So I'm going to show you, we put in 2 bits of paper, and it is art paper. Art paper is a little bit thicker, and you can get much thicker than this, but it's good because it doesn't curl up too much when you wet it. Now, you might want a scene like mine, which has got hills and trees and all sorts in. The thing about watercolour is that when you paint, the colours mix, which can be a disaster or can be really helpful. So I'm going to give you just a few ideas about painting maybe the sea. And the sea, the horizon is always perfectly straight. So you can decide where your horizon is, whether you want more sea or more sky. So usually it's best to have it 1/3 of one and 2/3 of the other, not in the middle. Doesn't look so good on the eye. So there we go. And if you want a sunset, I've got a sneaky way to put, if you cut out a circle for your masking tape, it's on your paper, that will keep it white so that you can colour it afterwards. Because while you're painting with all the blues, that could spoil it. And then when Mum's finished with her washing up sponge, you can use this and wet it, but make sure you squeeze it out. If it's too wet, it'll just spoil the surface of the paper. So let's squeeze that out, and then I'm going to do it quite gently, not rub too hard, because that does make it go bobbly. So I'm going to wet it all over. And obviously you can do any sort of sky. You might want a lovely sunny day, a stormy day, but a sunset's quite fun. And it's quite a small brush. If you've got a bigger one, it might be easier. I'm going to start at the bottom with the sort of colours we've had some wonderful sunsets. And if you want a lot of a colour, really, you need to mix it. So we're going to wet it thoroughly, get it quite wet. And then making sure it's still wet. No, it's dried a bit now. But don't go onto the sea. Keep that line, if you can. There. And we're going to put the yellow on the bottom. And hopefully you can see it run a little bit. I've not put enough colour yet. Let's put some more. And then you get the next colour. I'm sure you've all got really good at drawing rainbows. So if you go with the colours of the rainbow, it starts to mix a little bit. And if it's starting to get dry, just add a little bit more water with the brush. You can even lift it up and it'll pour into the other one, which makes it more like a sky. So keep going with all the colours, and I'm going to end at the top, probably with a dark blue. This lovely, aquamarine blue, which is actually Prussian blue. One of my favourite colours. As you can see, I'm usually wearing it. And so on until you finish the sky, and you may hold it up and let it run. That's brilliant. But in the end, you've got the whole sky done, and then with the sea, mixing in colours, but giving that yellow or light colour here. Leave some white if you want. But the fun bit is you then take off carefully your bit of masking tape, and it leaves you with that perfect sun in the middle. You can leave white or paint yellow. So that's a sunset. That's one thing you can do. And the other thing, because it's talking about this being especially about loving and looking at your wonderful world that God's made. So I did a bluebell wood. And again, it's using the fact that the watercolour runs that is helpful. And with the trees, you don't see all the branches, you don't see all the in there, but it's good to have some. So again, I'm going to wet. Well, let's do the bark first. And odd numbers are always good in art. 3 or 5 or just 1. Just our eye seems to like odd numbers, and you'll notice in nature, most things are in odd numbers. I'm going to mix it a bit on here, a little bit. And so if I just do 1 in the middle here, so it'll come up, and then if we wet it, see the colour spreads into the water, and then put a bit of the darker colour, and that will give you the mixture, the colour mixing beautifully in the middle, or you can help it mix by adding some water. And then best to let it dry, and then again we can use a sponge to put where the leaves are going to be. because when you look at a tree from a distance, you don't see every individual leaf. So again, you just take the greens, put some dark, some light. Make sure you rinse the brush in between colours. And yellow, if you look at trees, greens is never completely one colour in them. And then sometimes even a splash of red can look rather interesting. And you can see with my finished picture, I've done the same with the grass, used different greens, spotted on the colour, and it's spread. And you can use this for your background if you want to change the scenery, or just enjoy painting. Now, going back to our puppet show, we obviously need to have a story and some characters. Now, in the story I've chosen, the main character is Jonah. And so this is, you can see the back of the box that we cut out. There's Jonah. And he will fit through here. If you're very dexterous, you can fit through there and you can decide what he's going to say and do. So what I'll do, I'll show you my three characters first. In the story, it's important that we have a boat. So we've got this old-fashioned sailing ship, lots of people on board, and it's a bit rough. And then also comes the big fish later on, and he's important. So we've got those ready. Again, I've painted them, just painted on the back. This box paints really well. And then you've got to tell the story. So in this story, Jonah was praying one day, and God said, "You've got to go to Nineveh. I want you to talk to the people. They're being so evil and wicked. I need you to see them." And Jonah didn't say anything, but actually he thought, I don't want to go there. They're not going to like me. I'm going to go the opposite direction. And he went down to the harbour, found a boat. Now, if you're very good at this, you can fit it in there. Oh, there we go. Found a boat at the harbour and got on it, paid for a ticket to go in the opposite direction. And they sailed and they sailed. And then suddenly there was this enormous storm. Rocking and rocking, and oh, it was but Jonah was asleep. All the sailors thought, what on earth's going on? And when Jonah woke up, they worked out that it was God was cross that he was going the wrong way and didn't want him to go that way. So Jonah, in the end, was actually thrown off the boat. He agreed to be, because he knew it was his fault, that there was a terrible storm and they would all die. So Jonah was swimming in the water, crying to God and saying, "I'm so sorry, oh dear, what a silly thing to do, I shouldn't go the wrong way." And along came this rather large fish that God sent. And the fish opened up its mouth and in went Jonah, safely inside the tummy of the fish. Apparently for 3 days and 3 nights. The story's in the Bible. And in there, he was feeling very sorry for himself, as I'm sure you would be. It must be so smelly and horrible. But he prayed, said, "God, please, I'm so sorry. Please help me, keep me safe." And he did. And after 3 days, the fish opened up his mouth, out he popped, and he swam desperately to the shore, very hungry, very upset, but on the other hand, knowing he needed to go to Nineveh. And I'm going to end the story there, because that's the sort of happy ending. There we go. So I do hope you enjoy making your puppet show and your stories. Remember to send them to us on Facebook, the cabin page, and have great fun with your paints and your puppets. Bye.